Hey guys, how you doing? I have an over-the-board game report for you from a game I just played. And so this was, I'm playing in the Derbyshire, the Derby League, and playing for Chesterfield B or C team against Rolls-Royce E team. Rolls-Royce, obviously very, very big manufacturer in that area, lots of employees. They've got at least an E team. Now, I was feeling quite confident going into this game. It's also quite late at night. It's nearly 11 PM, which is, I'm normally well asleep by now. But I thought I'd share this one with you. So yeah, I felt quite good going into this game. I haven't played much this week. Obviously, I've had several days off as well. And the team captain put me on board 3, which meant I was going to have the white pieces. So, this is a rip-roarer of a game. And it has some comedy value in it as well, which I won't spoil, but let's just dive in. Okay, so I start obviously with a Van Geet, and we have E5 from my opponent. So D4 now, and by the way, I haven't analysed this. I've loaded the PGN. I've played it onto my over-the-board study, but I've also got it loaded up in the chess.com analysis game review as well. So D4 I think is correct here. I mean, look, you've got options, right? If you were to play E4 now, we go straight into Vienna game, which is probably fine as well. But I'm trying to go for the surprise value. So I play D4. We have takes and queen takes. So this is the reverse Nimzowitsch. Okay. So in the Nimzo, it's normally like E4, knight C6, something like that. And then you can play this, takes, queen takes, yeah, that kind of thing. Anyway, so it's already on the sharp side. So I was expecting knight c6 here with immediate tempo against the queen. My opponent plays, my opponent is Naim Iqbal. Opponent plays knight f6 first. I come out with my bishop to pin, which seemed kind of right. But yeah, because it is a genuine pin on the queen, and I figure that bishop e7 here is maybe suboptimal. So, but we have knight to here anyway. So I have a think for a bit here. There is a check. Also queen d2. I think I played queen d2. Just keeping my options open. We have bishop e7 blocking the pin, and now I decide that it's time for e4. So. I mean, this is just on instinct, really, because I can imagine, you know, being told off for not trying to stake some claim over the center, maybe put pressure on this knight. It just seemed like the right thing to do. We have d6 now from black. I guess preventing e5. Also unleashing this bishop. It does make life slightly harder for this bishop. And I'm feeling like, okay, you know, my opponent is developing. And here I think for a bit and I decide to throw in f4. f4, my idea is f4 then knight f3. I will probably go long with a king. And I just figure that, you know, my opponent's being a little cagey. You know, we're on move 7 now, right? He could complete development in like 9 moves, 10 moves, maybe 9 moves. But I don't know, it's just something about f4 just seemed like something about just those first 7 moves said maybe he's got an inclination to play a little slow, so what I should do is meet him. Okay, now we have h6, so again, putting the question to the bishop, I just drop back to h4, obviously, and he comes in now with his knight. So interesting there's lots of interesting counterplay in this game. So clearly we have some issues here. We've got two attackers on the bishop itself, right? So even a move like G3 doesn't work because we have takes, pawn takes, queen takes with check. So, you know, my opponent is now showing signs of aggression. And I have a think for a bit. I decided to drop my bishop back to G3. And let me turn my phone off. Don't want things popping up there. Because, yeah, I didn't want to invite his queen out. And also, if I take here and queen takes, he's getting ready to castle. His queen's lined up with my king. I just didn't see any value in that. And I thought, let's keep the bishops on the board. So bishop G4, G3. He comes out and contests the bishop, and I'm not worried about this because if he wants to take, I'll take back with this. I open up the H file for my rook, so all good there. I decide to play knight F3, now really forcing the issue. So it's a developing move, and I'm now putting two attackers on the bishop, and it's only defended by the queen. So turning the tables somewhat on my opponent. He takes, I take back with H. Okay. And at this point, I'm feeling like I'm all right. I'm quite happy with this pawn structure. I'm quite happy with my central control with the knights as well. And I'm still thinking definitely castling long. My concern is this knight in my camp. I'd prefer it if he wasn't in my half of the board. Anyway, so opponent plays Queen E7. There's only the one attacker on this, and it is defended by my knight, so I'm feeling like we're okay. I've got time to long castle. And now we have bishop D7. I'm thinking, is he going long? But already, you know, I've got a rook in the middle of the board. That's one of the advantages of long castles, is especially when you've got like a semi-open file, get your rook straight on the D file. No bad thing. There's an undefended pawn there, there's an undefended pawn there. And yeah, here, oh yeah, this is it. With this bishop move, because it undefends, blocks the queen's defense of C7. So this is one of those, like, this is a bit of a no-brainer move, right? Centralize the knight, hit the queen, force the queen back. I played it quickly. He also played queen back to D8 pretty quickly. I've not even got the engine on at this point, by the way. We're just going through it. This move, I did think about for a while, right? Yes, I want to complete development. I want to connect my rooks, right? Where does my bishop want to be? There's a few cases. I mean, bishop here would walk into knight F2, forking both rooks. Didn't want that. Bishop here, there's an argument for it, defending this. Maybe eyeing up this. But I just figured, look, if he castles, then having my bishop lined up there. But as soon as I played it, I thought we could have knight A5. Now targeting both these squares with a bishop. And what was I going to do in that situation? I wasn't quite sure. So I was a bit worried about knight A5 here. But Naeem retreats his knight. And I was really happy to see this because he's taken it back out of my space, whereas up in my face. And it was defended by his bishop there. He could have played H5 as well and defended it a second time. But I'm kind of happy here. Why? Well, his king's still in the middle of the board. I've got decent pawns. Right, so what do we do at this point? And I figure that I'm quite happy to allow him to capture. I could take back, for example, with a queen. Then we've got, you know, big pressure on F7. So here, I think for a little while, and I figure king's in the middle of the board, my king is safe, I've already got one rook centralized, I've got other rooks over, and it feels like my position is better, right? So it's time to push. So E5. And we've got takes, I did calculate this. He can take, he can't, right? So I probably considered E5, I think a couple of moves earlier as well. But here, you know, with the knight moving back, because here it was defending E5, and here it ain't. So e5 has just felt so natural here. Now he comes in. And what do we think of this move? He comes in, hitting my queen and also hitting the pawn on g3. So I saw this, I thought, well, obviously I saw it, you know, I was paying attention to my opponent's moves, it's quite important in chess. Okay, I thought, oh, you know, did I mess up here? Then queen e1 though, defends the queen, counterattacks the knight and defends the pawn. Okay, and I've also got my queen lined up with his king, and his king still isn't castled. And now we have bishop f5 to defend the knight. I think he played this quite quickly. And then I figure I've got a couple of ideas here. I've got like g4, knock the bishop back, and f5, right? Then the knight's undefended because we've blocked off the bishop's defense of the knight. And if the knight moves, I have pawn takes d6, e takes d6, with a discovered check from the queen, potentially then winning more material as well, and taking advantage of the fact of his king's in the middle. So g4 is played pretty quickly. He plays the bishop all the way back to h7. And here, big question, right? Do I push with effectively tempo on the knight, because the knight is then undefended, or do I take here? I decided to take on d6. The one reason is I'm now pinning the knight. The knight is now in a pin and can't legally move. Okay, I figured he couldn't take with the queen here, but I'm not 100%. Well, no, because I think if queen takes here, then I have knight b6 winning an exchange with a discovered attack on the queen, and it just felt good there. I expected him to take with the pawn, and he did take with the pawn. Now he's got an isolated d-pawn, an isolated IQP, and now simply f5. f5, the knight is now undefended, and it's in an absolute pin. The knight is going to be lost. So opponent thinks for quite some time, then castles. I snatch the knight, I figure I'm safe. We have rook e8. And I've got a couple of safe squares here for the queen. I decide in the end to go for queen f4 for a couple of reasons. Queen here, I didn't like the fact that we've got an alignment issue with the bishop. On the plus side, we might have pressure against the IQP. But it just kind of, it felt safer on f4. So queen f4, he brings his other rook across. And now I throw in a just a slightly defensive move, right? I want to be careful about my king safety on this side. I'm not too worried about his pawns rushing up here, but I just thought let's just keep his knight out of trouble. You know, this bishop is actually undefended as there on c4. So he puts his pawn up. I figure this is not scary. The other reason, of course, for playing a3 is to give my bishop the a2 square, if it wants to drop out there. So now g5. And g5 felt right. g5 felt good here. If he takes, I'll probably take that with a knight, for example. We've got good pressure now on this king side. That bishop's not looking great. And you know, 23 moves in. It's a good position. He now comes in, offering a trade of knights, and also, and again, for the second time in the game, I thought, oh no, have I screwed up, right? Because, like, for example, I can't take his knight because pawn takes, and then my queen is under attack, and so is my bishop. I guess I could actually just move the queen to one side and defend the bishop from the rook. Didn't really think of that. But in the end, I just came up with bishop e2, defending the knight, and he decides to take. Now he's down a piece, so I did not approve of this idea. My bishop is now a bit happier. It's on a defended square where it's defended by this pawn. So I'm feeling good, and I'm liking the pressure I've got against this king. And, you know, his pieces are looking a bit passive there. We now have b5, and I'm feeling like I think I'm all right. So he takes a break at this point. I play GH. And actually, I thought about this. I thought his best option here is not to react. Let me take on G7 and use the pawn as a human shield. He's probably okay, but then I'm likely to come in with pressure on this bishop. But it is actually, it's a very unpleasant position. But he plays G6. And I'd already pretty much decided what I was going to do. It's going to be Queen D4 with a checkmate threat. Now, if he pushes this pawn here, I can take with a fork on king, rook, and bishop. So unpleasant position. But he finds a really good move here. Rook E5. And he does now start pulling out some very interesting counterplay. I'm also conscious of the bishop looking down on C2. Okay, so he does this. I decide to try and force the rooks off the board, and now the other rook comes down to C4. And I'm thinking, you know, I was starting to get a bit cocky. It's very, very dangerous in chess. So queen drops back now to F2. Okay, and I'm still aware of this. He could take here, he could push, he could open up the bishop. He's got bishop and rook looking at C2. Okay, but so one of the reasons for putting the queen here is to defend with the queen as well. And he takes the pawn here. Now, I didn't see this, neither did he. But as soon as he took it, I went, oh, hello. We've got a knight fork on king and rook. King moves to F8. I snatch the rook. He recaptures. Okay. So here, I'm now up a full rook rather than a knight. Plus his pawns are in tatters, okay? However, suddenly with these moves, you know, he's managed to get his pieces quite active, and my king on this semi-open c-file ain't the happiest. And now it all gets a bit weird. Okay, right, I play queen g3 and I have a mate in one threat. Right, because my rook's got the whole e-file. Here's a mate in one threat. He takes on c2 with check. Okay, now, this is the funny part of it. You know how you sometimes just miss looking at stuff? I thought that his bishop was guarding c2. And so I thought, well, I can't take the rook. And then I thought, oh no, this is forced. But then he's got rook takes g2, winning my queen. Okay? So I played king b1 pretty quickly. And then I got my sheet and I wrote 2 question marks on it and went like, oh no, I could have taken the rook. But should I have taken the rook? Right, if king takes rook here, it's f4. Discovered check, winning the queen anyway. So I think I accidentally made the best move. I think, in fact, I think there's only a couple of legal moves here, right? Because I'm in check. So what can you do? I played this. He now has to put his bishop in the way here to block the checkmate from the queen on g7. I had a think here. I decided to play bishop h5. He can't take because it's mate. Okay. And now he plays queen f6. Comedy gag number 2 coming up. Okay. I look at this. I see that queen takes b2 is checkmate. Okay. Fortunately, I have queen takes d6. I'm sorry. Queen takes d6 check. Because I play this and he immediately plays queen takes b2 checkmate. He goes, mate, and checkmates me on b2. Unfortunately, for my opponent, I was in a position to remind him that he was actually in check at the time. I didn't say check because you don't have to say check. But you know, very, very interesting counterplay. Anyway, so he had to take the move back. He trades queens. And here, he could take my bishop, but then loses his rook. And he's still a rook down. He comes back here. I trade. I win the pawn. King comes here, takes the pawn. Black resigns. What a game. So out of that, I mean, I did get sucked into thinking my opponent's being a bit slow and a bit conservative, but then I did get surprised by some of his counterplay later on. But let us now look at the 85-4. That will do, but I do have a blunder and one mistake, but that ain't bad. Oh, by the way, it's also a 75 plus 10 game, because in the Derby League, there's a 10-second increment. So that I'm happy about. Let's scroll down. I want to see, yeah, 1850 and an excellent middle game. That I will take. That I will take. But let's see what the blunder was, okay? This is an excellent move. Best move according to the machine. Both knights, okay. Well, it's 20th of a pawn difference. Okay, so this is the reverse Nimzo. Yeah, that's inaccurate. I thought it was just going to be knight c6. Yeah, knight c6 is just better, but nearly half a pawn better, because I get my bishop out. Okay, now I'm ready to long castle. He does this. That's not the best move. Best move, queen e3. Queen e3 check. Then what happens? Okay, fishy stuff ensues. But good to know, good to know. Okay, but I played my queen here. Bishop blocks, yeah, again, not that accurate. And e4, really pleased with that. And in fact, it's the pawn moves in this game that I felt most proud of. So I'll see how we get on. Okay, d6. f4 I liked. Computer says, computer says long castles, which is fine, but again, it's 0.2 of a pawn difference. f4 I thought was a cool move here. Okay, kicks, and that is my blunder. I should have traded off, right? Okay, so I do this, and what could have happened? Yeah, I actually figured that out. I did look at that in the game. Yeah, that was not clever. So that is the blunder. Because basically, yeah, this is now a free pawn, because the bishop's totally undefended there. And if takes, I try and trade my way out of it. He's won himself a pawn. If I take the knight, queen takes a check. Yeah, I'm just a pawn down. Just a pawn down. So not my finest hour, but he does that instead of taking the free pawn. And now again it says I should have traded, but I was okay with that move. Here I'm okay. That's okay. Wow, what really? You're saying you should take here? Queen takes a check. Oh, I guess I've got g3. g3 with tempo. Yeah, didn't think about that. Okay, but anyway, I'll bring my knight out. I'm developing. H takes. Good, good, good. Castle's best. All right. Let's go back to the review. Castle's is best. Okay. Just the eval bar just dropped there for no reason at all. This was not great, and that's a great move. Good, good, good. Happy with that. Queen pretty much forced. Yeah, bishop c4. I was very much in two minds. Best move. Did think about it. I confess I did think about it. Lifting the old rook. Maybe ideas of doubling up later on. But yeah, kicking that knight away. Let's see what would happen. Maybe. Maybe, fishy. Maybe. Okay, but anyway, so I do this, and yeah, I knew this was a mistake. It just felt all wrong on so many levels. E5 I didn't like. I mean, no, it's a good move. It's a good move, but it's not the best move. Best move is... Seriously? Yeah? I mean, pawn can't take. The pawn's actually in the pin. Because he gets mated. It's a knight here. Wow. Threatening to come in. And that's just obviously... Mate. Wow. No, I confess, I didn't even look at that. I didn't even notice the fact of the pin, actually. But that would have improved my knight. Okay. So, anyway, so I play e5. I feel like I'm okay. I'm only +1 here, actually. I thought I was a bit better at this point. And this is the blunder. This is the knight that ends up getting... Because he's like, you know, c-fork, play fork. Apparently he should have traded off. That's okay. Interestingly, it's saying queen e3. And then what if he takes, though? Then I've got ed. Maybe ideas against the knight later on as well. And that's actually completely winning. Yeah, didn't consider that one. I just defended. Bishop comes out and we're +5 here. Okay. And that is a good move, but... Oh, what? Bishop d3? No, that wasn't even on my radar, I'm sorry. Bishop d3 wasn't on my radar. And here he has to take with a queen, apparently. But he doesn't. Right, take with a queen. Knight b6, I guess, is not a move then. Because he gets out of that with check. Okay. And black's actually better. And that is... What a double-edged game. Anyway, but he takes with the pawn. f5, excellent move. Right? Again, proud of these pawn pushes. But I get to play these pawn pushes because I've got, you know, my major artillery in the middle of the board. And he has to give up his pawn. There we go. Best move, queen f4. And we'll go through. So, you know, good move, good move. It's saying get the king the hell out of there. Get the king across. Which later I learned was a good idea. Again, another pawn push. Again, the computer approves of it. This is okay. It's saying drop the bishop back. Actually, defending c2 would have been a jolly good idea here. Because he's got bishop and rook lined up against there. So actually, yeah, dropping the bishop back. This is a clunky move. It's also on an unprotected square. So yeah, not proud of that one. There, takes, and we are still winning. We're still +5. That's excellent. He didn't need to do that at all. Actually, g5? You kidding me? And now it's saying rook h e1. Okay, this is fine. Either rook to e1. And he finds some great moves here. Look at these two best moves. Really bringing those rooks into life. And that was good. And that was good. But even b3. Okay. And queen g3 with a checkmate threat. Very forcing. And king b1. Boys and girls. Was the best move. Goodness gracious me. It's nearly +8. King takes c2 is still better. But then f4 check. Okay. Break that. Oh, it's saying even bishop takes e4. Rook takes e4 and then this. And we're still actually better. I would have been gutted. But it just goes to show. I don't know what does it go to? I don't know what it goes to show. I mean, I thought I'd screwed up here. I put 2 question marks, meaning blunder. Hanging rook. And then I realised that the pawn was blocking the bishop's view of the rook. So, you know, skin of my teeth there. That's, you know, almost forced. That wasn't the best move. Apparently, okay, so yeah, we've got double eyes on that. I could have forced the queens off the board at this point as well. But I decided to go this way. And obviously checkmate threat here. And then, you know, he actually checkmated me But it won't let it do it because it's an illegal move, and we are just winning at that point. So there you go. So, I mean, that was a rip-roarer of a game. Some of the other games were less exciting, but that was good. That really was good. And for 1850, for that, I will take it. Neither of us excelled in the opening, but the middle game was good. And, you know, something I'm proud of, the aggressive use of my pawns. Yeah, very satisfying. And a good win in the end. My opponent's rated 1501, I think, currently over the board. I'm 1551, so 50 points between us. But I'll take that. I thought you guys wanted to would appreciate seeing that. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed playing it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.